Hi, I'm Peter Jones, Chartered Surveyor, author and property investor. Question which I'm sometimes asked is, Peter, how much of a discount can I expect to get off a purchase price or off an asking price if I offer the agent cash? Now, when I say offer the agent cash, I don't mean offer the agent cash as in giving them a bribe in a brown envelope, but I mean making a cash offer to buy the property. And it's a great question, but there is no real answer to it. But let me give you insights into my experience of using cash. First of all, what is a cash buyer? Is it literally somebody who's got cash in the bank, or is it somebody who's got access to be able to access funds quickly should they wish to be able to buy? The two terms are used very much interchangeably. And one of the things which you might consider doing, particularly when you're first starting out in property or when you're going off on a buying spree, is to get in touch with a mortgage broker and ask if they will produce a decision in principle for you. Now, I spoke to my mortgage broker about this and I said, is it better to have a decision in principle before you find a property or once you find a property? And there's no real clear-cut answer on this. There's merits to both sides. Now, having a decision in principle basically means that you can go to a bank, the bank will look at you as a person and they will say, yes, we will lend to that person, which means that you can then go to an estate agent with your decision in principle, show them that you're lendable, to show them that you could do a deal potentially quickly because the bank are all ready to process whatever mortgage application you then make. So that can be quite handy. Now, my mortgage broker's view was that it can be easier when you've actually got the property because then the bank can look at you and they can look at the property. But if you're going out and you're first looking for property, then and you haven't actually found the property, then it can be useful to have one which just looks at you, if that makes sense. So that can be good. And some people will say that because they've got a DIP, they've got a decision in principle, that they are essentially cash buyers as far as the agent's concerned, because they're all ready to go. Now, of course, it may be that our understanding of being a cash buyer is somebody who's literally got the cash in the bank. So again, does it have to be your cash? Well, not necessarily. I've used, for example, proof of funds, because an estate agent will quite often ask for proof of funds, and that proof of funds can quite often be, well, it could be the decision in principle, or it could be a bank statement showing that there's money in a bank account. I've used proof of funds which haven't actually been my money. Now, being completely transparent, the agent knew it wasn't my money, but I've explained the situation to the agent and said it's not my money, but it's my backer's money, and my backer will back me and they will finance this deal when we agree the terms. And they've been happy with that. Of course, if it's your own money, even better, because then it's even more straightforward. Crucial point though, if you actually have funds, whether they're yours and you can prove that you can access them, or whether they're not yours but you can still prove that you can access them, does it make any difference to the price that you pay? I would argue no, which might surprise you, and there may be some people who take issue with that and they're going to put posts under this video saying I don't agree, which is fine, but this is my experience. It's all well and good to say that you can do a quick deal because you've got cash. The reason why that might be attractive to a seller is because if you've got cash, it means you don't have to apply for a mortgage, and it's in applying for the mortgage that things can get slow. But to me, I think the most important thing in agreeing a discount isn't necessarily the fact that I've got cash. The thing which is important is that in the first instance, I've been able to identify that the person who's selling the property is a motivated seller. Somebody who wants to sell, somebody who wants to sell quickly. If they want to sell quickly, and they may have particular reasons why they want to sell the property quickly, then they're more likely to be open to a lower offer. That, to me, is the important part of the equation. Now, if you've got cash and you can show them you want to sell quickly, I can buy quickly, then that might make you a preferred buyer. Would it actually affect the price? I suspect not, because the price is going to be much more affected by the fact they want to sell quickly anyway. You just happen to be the sort of buyer that they want. Now, I'm not saying that in every instance that's the case. I don't think there's any hard and fast rules on this. If you find somebody who's exceptionally motivated and they've got a choice between you, who's got the cash, and another buyer who hasn't got the cash, then the fact that you've got the cash may actually add to their motivation to want to act with you and to sell to you, in which case you may be able to negotiate an even bigger discount off the price or off the value, whatever it is you're discounting against. So all of that is good as well. But I think the most important thing, in my experience, is the fact that the seller themselves are motivated, and that's the key thing. And that's why I spend a lot of time looking for motivated sellers. And when you find a motivated seller and you can do a deal with them, a win-win deal, we're not looking to rip anybody off, we're not looking to take advantage, we're trying to help them out of whatever problem it is that they found themselves in. But when you do that, that's when your deals get good, and that's when you'll start building your portfolio, and you'll realise you don't need to do a dozen deals every year. Half a dozen deals with a motivated seller, or with half a dozen motivated sellers, is actually the best way to go.
Well, I hope you found that informative and inspirational. And if you want help in property, please do come over to my website, www.thepropertyteacher.co.uk. Loads of great resources there, including my blog. There's loads of free videos, loads of great articles. There's free reports to download, including Learning with Peter, where you'll be able to access resources like my video courses, like my ebooks, including my home study course, the Successful Property Investors Strategy Workshop, which I've literally sold thousands of copies of, which takes you through how I started in property, literally with none of my own money, but how I was able to build a portfolio of £2 million worth of property in just 4 years. I'll show you everything that I did right so that you can do the same, and I'll show you everything that I did wrong. I'll tell you about all of my mistakes so that you can avoid them, so that you can progress in property far more quickly than me. Until next time, here's to successful property investing.